Hey guys, how you doing? Been a while. So just a little quick commentary here on some thoughts. But tomorrow at GDC, at 10 a.m. Pacific time, Google's gonna have a keynote talking about the future of their gaming, whatever. Now, a lot of people think this is just going to be a streaming device. A lot of people don't know what actually to think about it. I'm a little bit wondering what it could be as well. The more and more I think about this, the more I think it's got to be at least some kind of hardware with at least digital download gaming, even if it's not some kind of physical hardware. I think the end goal for Google here, and don't get me wrong, I think when this thing launches, it's going to have a streaming service that probably goes alongside of it. And then I can imagine a controller, since they're kind of pushing this, that's like Bluetooth enabled, that you could easily also sync to your phone. So if you're out and about, so the idea I think Google's working with here, but the reason I also think it has to be some kind of at least real hardware, something similar to like say like Switch or something like that. But I would guess it'd have to be a little bit more than that. I think the idea is that they want to release actual hardware, get people into the Google ecosystem, and that way, like you buy a game, you digitally download it or whatever, and if you're out and about and you've got a good enough like cell phone provider that can stream this kind of stuff or whatever, especially 5G coming around, in the future you'll be able to take your controller, pair it to your phone, and use it out and about. But they may also sell like a smaller box that's just streaming for people that already have the ability to do that. But I think they do have to release real hardware here because they have to start getting people on board now, because they know Microsoft is also working on xCloud right now. And the benefit that Microsoft has is they actually already have real hardware out there. They already actually have exclusives out there. And I think Google needs to work on that, and Google needs to build that up. And you're not going to build anything up if you just release a streaming box. There's companies already tried that. OnLive already tried that. You need to have actual hardware, so people that aren't into this yet or don't have the infrastructure for this yet know that they have something to play Google games on. That's a weird thing to talk about. The other thing that worries me about this is I think since it's a Google box, even if it is good hardware, I do see them making a push that the OS would be something like Android. And I honestly don't feel great about that. Android's had, and you can look up other sources as well. Digital Foundry is a great one. They go into Android gaming a lot. Has had a lot of issues in its renderer pipeline and way it handles gaming pipelines and stuff. Now, there's a lot of people game on their phone, obviously, and they don't have any real problem with it. But when you start really looking at it, there's a lot of hitches and stutters and weird things that happen. It's a lot of times not really the hardware's issue, but it has something to do with the underlying OS. And even though it's a variant of Linux, if you look at what Nintendo did with the Switch, they didn't try to use an Android OS at all. They just went straight for a Linux kernel. You know, them and Nvidia just built like their own Linux OS to run, because it doesn't have the same issues that a lot of Android builds have. So that has me a little concerned. I think the render that we saw of the controller that somebody made based off of the patent, I think the controller is going to be a lot different than that. That render seemed very old. Android's not had the little house logo for like the home button for a while. So this seems to be quite a few years old. And from what I heard, this patent's been out for a while. Also, it just, just because somebody can render something based off of a drawing doesn't mean everything about what they rendered is accurate to what was in that drawing. So the handles looked a little wide, the sticks looked a little bit small, and we only saw it from one angle. So anyways, I'm going to be covering this. I'm going to see what's going on. I do think this is a big deal. Just to see, when you have a big Goliath like Google coming in and saying all of a sudden, now we're going to start doing gaming, and here's what we think the future is. But then you have Microsoft that has an established base out there. I do think that if Google just comes out and just announces a stream project, and we've seen what they've done with YouTube, and they're not necessarily successful there either, so it doesn't mean that everything that Google does is successful just because they're Google. if this isn't like actual hardware and just a small box of the controller to stream like OnLive was, I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be a fail, or at least not a fail, but they'll probably push it for a while. But I think Microsoft has just probably got the online figured out, the achievements, all that fun stuff. They have the hardware out there. They have a base. They already have people buying into their games, and the idea of xCloud is the games that you're buying today for the Xbox is stuff you're going to be able to play on the xCloud later. And it's not like what PlayStation's doing with their streaming. Their streaming is different because what they're doing is you stream either a disc or game on your hard drive off of your own PS4. xCloud is you buy the game, you have the rights to it, but you're not streaming it from your console at home. You're streaming it off of Microsoft servers. And that takes a lot of latency and a lot of other issues out. And in theory, you could actually say if you have something like a lower spec Xbox, because I think we're going to be seeing lower spec Xboxes and a higher spec Xbox. I think we're going to see this configuration for a while now. If you had a lower spec Xbox, you could feasibly stream the game from xCloud, and I'm sure they would have the higher spec Xboxes running that, and then it would look better in that kind of weird way. I do worry about latency. I do worry about things like that, especially in games like this, like fighting games, like Street Fighter and stuff. I especially worry about latency because this is kind of my jam. This is what I do. But I do think there'll be outliers out there, even with this streaming software coming up, including Microsoft themselves. I don't think they're necessarily fully invested in this yet. They're going to have their hardware, and then it's going to be a slow push to the future. It's going to be decade, if not decades, until everybody has good enough internet to be able to do this. So it's not going to be a viable option. And I think you're going to have people like Nintendo that's going to stay on the hardware front for quite a long time and try to deliver hardware that's not necessarily, the most expensive thing out there. But I also think Nintendo's just got this mindset that they don't really care what the other guys are doing. They don't care what the graphics disparity between their system and whatever streaming service or whatever other systems out there. I think they're just gonna keep being Nintendo and just trying to do their own thing. And they do have the portable market. I can almost see like a 3-tier thing going on right now where Microsoft is pushing for cloud gaming. Sony is pushing for more VR, and it seems to be that way with the PS5. And then you got Nintendo doing the portable side, and it kind of leaves the questions like, what's Google doing? The same thing Xbox is doing. So that's the question there, and I think it's going to be, like I said, I think it's going to be a hard sell. I've even heard something similar about Steam and Valve working on a version of this for Steam, where all the games that you buy currently in your Steam catalog in the future, you will be able to stream off of their service, so to speak. So, interesting times, guys. So, tune in tomorrow. It'll be up in a couple places. If I can stream it, I will try, but it's really close to when I have to be at work. So I will tweet and let you guys know what's going on or where you can go view it at, okay? And if some of you guys want to hang out in the Discord with me when it's on, that's cool. We can do that. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Hit the thumbs up button if you like this. Actually, hit the thumbs down button if you hate Google and you don't want them involved in your space here. And subscribe and dingle the bell on the way out. Later, guys.